Welcome to Matters of the Heart podcast with Rashonda, Thursday's Tip Edition. Do you need some advice? Need some ideas to improve a specific situation, whether in the world around you or just an individual fix? Well, that's what Thursday's Tip is all about. I don't just tell you how to do it, but I'll always offer a couple of tips on things you can do to succeed in the process. Thursday's tips are geared towards making us feel empowered, starting from the inside out. So, what are you waiting for? Come on in and let me share a couple of tips with you. Hello, everyone. This is the Matters of the Heart podcast. If you're listening or hearing my voice right now, you already know what time it is. Welcome to another Thursday's Tip episode. You know your little sis got the tips for you. I talk about inspiration, motivation, wellness, and mind peacefulness on this platform. I share my experiences, advice, and knowledge to help you improve your life and learn more. The content is always 100% positive, and your cheerful host on this beautiful journey is me, Rashonda. Hello, how you doing? And welcome if this is your first time listening to the podcast. I'm so glad you decided to be here today. Listen, I have a topic, and it is, I need help. Can someone get me a counselor, please? I need help. Can someone get me a counselor, please? Now, I know the big C word is daunting, and it scares many people. However, I came to a conclusion one day that I truly needed to talk to someone. Maybe you haven't realized it yet, or maybe you have and just haven't taken the time to vent out your thoughts about seeking help. Perhaps you think counselors are taboo. Well, let me tell you all about it and give you a couple of tips I learned that could help you too. So stay tuned. I'm going to share what my story was and what changed my mind about seeking help. Okay, say it with me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with getting help. Let's say it one more time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with getting help. Now that you've said that, let's dig into the topic. March in my mind is Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, before you get all technical with me, I know there's a Mental Health Awareness Day somewhere during the year, but if you ask me, it can be any time you realize or come to grips that you seriously need to talk to someone. March of 2020 was my realization. I'm always there for other people. I always take out time to listen to them, their problems, their issues, their hurts, habits, and hang-ups, and I really do listen. Once they talk, I give my 2 cents on the matter. In most cases, I prayed with them or included them in my prayers once the convo is over, and they go on their merry way. Now, how does this all play out when I need someone to talk to? Do you hear the crickets? Yes, that's usually what I hear. Or if I do talk to someone, it'll start out being about my issue. Somehow it reverts to their issue and I end up helping them through theirs without getting my problem dissected. I once was friends with someone who did this on more than one occasion. I'd always loved seeing them and hanging out. They'll ask me about my day and how things have been going with me, and I'll respond. And then the next thing I know, they're on themselves, their life, their goals, their family, their business, and this and their that, and the list goes on and on and on. Most times, by the time they work their way back around to what I had to say, I'd be too exhausted to answer them. And all I can get out is, everything's just fine. But in my head, that was a lie. that's been my life with friendships. Unfortunately, those same coaching habits trickled over into a couple of personal relationships as well. I've always put others before me, and that's when I decided enough was enough. I have to talk to someone, and if I can't find people around me that's willing to listen, I'd find a counselor that will. Let's face it, the last 2 years have been seriously rocky. In March of 2020, when I decided to go to a counselor, there were beginning talks about the other big C word. But by the time the end of March rolled up, other big C was here. And the world as we knew it was headed in a whole other direction. That time frame did many things to people's mental health. To be locked up away from civilization and social encounters or interactions, it made life scary and boring. We as a people need social interaction. However, there are most jobs now that are offering employees mental health breaks via courses they can take to improve their mental health. And most employers are now offering many mental health services that you can pay for with your insurance card. And the only thing you'll have to pay is a copay. When I found this out 2 years ago, I thought I'd give it a try, and I was pleasantly surprised at the small copay that I had to pay. While employers offer this service, there are many employees that don't even know that they have this insurance option or that their employer will pay for mental health counseling. Here's what I found out with my insurance plan regarding mental health and some tips on how you can put yourself first starting today, because it's never too late. Tip number 1, check your insurance plan. Mental health is on the rise, and I'm so happy that more and more people are discussing it. The more we talk about it, the less taboo it'll feel. It's nothing to be ashamed of either. Hey, we can all use a mental check. I Googled my insurance to see what counselors and offices accepted it. Once I went through the list provided, I called my insurance company to see if these doctors were in network or out of network. Luckily, the one I chose was in network. Out of network is okay. Just know that you'll be paying a little more in copay. I also found out that my copay was $25, and that plan came with unlimited visits for that amount. Now that's a win-win. So don't be afraid to reach out to your insurance carrier. After all, that's what you're paying for every month. Might as well take advantage of it. Tip number 2, realize your limits. Maybe seeing a therapist is not on your to-do list at the moment, and that's okay. However, you need to realize when you've reached your limit in a conversation. In the past, after I've talked to people, I've got the worst headache or migraine, and my energy was zapped because we can allow people to dump their issues on us. We literally can become human trash cans to other people's issues. We must realize that people transfer their energy onto you, and I totally believe in this. While you want to be a friend, you also have to think about your sanity. It can be thrown entirely off if your friend is going on and on and on again about the same old drama you gave them pointers on months before. Self-care is the best care. Sometimes you just have to say, look, I gotta go, or I just had something to come up. Can I call you back? Learn to give yourself a break, even amid a conversation. And you better believe your sanity is awaiting to applaud you. Tip number 3. This goes into the self-care regimen. You better get selfish. Okay? You better get selfish. I'm learning this even now. You don't have to respond to every text or answer every call, unless it's life or death, at the drop of a hat because someone needs you. You need you. Your body and mind need you to think clearly and focus on you and your needs. Think about it. If you give everyone in the world your time or what little you have after a long day of work, then what's left for you? Oh, my bad. The bed. Because that's precisely where you're going, and nobody has time to work, do family, put out fires with your friends, and etc., and not be able to stay awake for at least 2 hours to do something for yourself. Life wasn't set up for you to be that way, but you know how life works. It goes in the direction you lead it. Tip number 4, truth brings change. I've had my share of toxic friendships and relationships. The thing is, I didn't really know they were toxic until they left me broke, dry, and questioning my own sanity. Our life lets in what we put out. If you keep talking to people who just don't get it or keep you in a box, everything else that comes your way will be the same way. We have to learn to speak up, and I'm preaching to the choir on this one. I don't speak up enough. I let things go on and accept people's stuff because I either don't want to lose them or I'm afraid I'm going to be too pushy with my standards, so I digress. The one thing I have to constantly drill in my head is to be honest with myself and the people around me. If it means they'll leave me, then let them. It just means they were out of place in my life anyway. If it makes me uncomfortable, say it. If I feel I'm giving 100% and only getting 20% in return, then leave. And you know what? You don't have to provide anyone an explanation for doing so. Life is all about making the right choices that will push us forward into being the great and amazing beings we were created to be in the first place. And if that means being a little selfish and or getting a little help along the way to accomplish that, then by all means, as a friend once told me, do it. Whatever you do, don't suffer in silence. You can get help. It's not taboo or some dirty word. It very well could save your life. Listen, I hope you got something out of this episode. Hopefully the tips that were provided today, you will take those back and you'll look into them and you will apply them to your own life. Listen, there's a new Thursday tip every second Thursday of the month. So until next time, be well and do what's best for you. See you later. That was it for today's episode. I hope you were inspired and feel positive vibes whenever you spend some time with me, Rashonda, and the Matters of the Heart podcast. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to join me next time as we dive deeper into our spiritual, mental, and physical journey. You can follow Matters of the Heart podcast on Facebook to stay tuned for what's coming next. Feel free to share the episodes while you're here. Also, stay with me by subscribing wherever your favorite music and podcast stations reside. And as always, watch your heart because its actions will follow. Thank you for listening.